Thank you so much, Chair Shergill. It's always great to be with you and to be with Democrats that understand what's at stake in this election. I'm so grateful to the Grassroots Democrats joining with the party, joining with the Progressive Caucus for this, really important phone bank. We already have, it looks like, close to 100 people signed up, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Because the reality is, as Umar said, look, especially as progressives, we don't have the luxury of being complacent. We're not okay with the status quo. So it's not about winning an election and this relaxing for 2 years or relaxing for 4 years. We don't do that. And we're not always satisfied. And especially progressive activists that I know put their heart and soul in everything they do can look at what's happening in Sacramento or DC and say, we're not doing enough. And I agree. We have to do a lot more. But the reality is, that this recall, if it's successful, will set back the progressive movement dramatically. It'll set back the Democratic Party, not just in California, but around the nation dramatically. And it'll practically hand the House to the Republican Party if they're able to beat us in our real stomping grounds. This is our base. This is California. And let's remember, this is also a matter of life or death. You might have the issues that matter to you, what have you, but right now, over the last week, California had the lowest COVID infection rates in the nation. The 22 states, with the top 22 states in infection rates were all Republican states. People are literally dying because they're choosing to feed this base in order to control political power. While we're following the science, Governor Newsom's been following the science. We're trying to make sure that we're keeping people safe. Not to mention, there are a lot of great progressive bills, great progressive budget items, whether it's expanding healthcare to undocumented residents, whether it's being welcoming to our refugees from Afghanistan, but whether it's the toughest and strongest workplace protections in the nation, or whether it's ensuring that we're educating and investing in education, the greatest investment in education of any state in the history of this nation. And that's all possible because we have a governor that we can partner with. And that when we push for something, if he goes 90% of the way, we'll congratulate him and then we'll fight for the next 10%. And that's what we have to do here. Right now, we have to fight for the governor, for our democratic values, so that we can beat the recall on September 14th. And then on September 15th, we'll come back and we'll push against fracking and drilling. We'll push for CalCare and single-payer healthcare. We'll push for more justice for our immigrant community. We know we're not going to stop fighting, but the reality is that the fight gets a lot harder if we don't beat this recall. And frankly, I know a lot of folks are feeling complacent a little bit right now because some of the newspapers and polling show, Democrats are showing up and all that. Don't listen to that for a couple of reasons. One is that leads to complacency in the final couple of days. A lot of those projections are based on what they think is going to happen, based on what the numbers have been. The reality is that if people get complacent, the numbers aren't going to be there for the Democrats. Secondly, as opposed to 5, 10, 15 years ago, Republicans used to vote early, and it was the Democrats that showed up on election day and showed up late, so to speak, in the results that came out 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. It's the other way around now. Trump has created distrust in the mail-in process. Now that is a good thing for us in one way because now we're able to get a jump on the mail ballots coming in. But the bad thing is that we don't know how many people are going to show up on election day in favor of the recall. And it's going to be a lot. They're enthusiastic. They're feeding to their base. They're lying to them. They're creating division and using that hatred and the seeds of mistrust. So we have to get a really big lead going into Tuesday to make sure we can withstand whatever the Republican push is. And frankly, we want to win by a lot. I don't want to see this be a squeaker 1-2%. We need to win by 10, 15, 20%. And I really appreciate all of those of you around the country, all the young people that are here that understand, the direction that California goes speaks to the direction of the nation, that you're invested in the success of California because you understand that we succeed together. Our state, we feed off each other. I look at a lot of my legislation. I look around the country. I look at what's happening in New York and Washington. I see the bad stuff happening in some of the states and how we can get ahead of it. So thank you all so much. We, as progressives, have got to stick together. And I think right now the best thing we can do as progressives is protect California, protect the governor. And then again, when we beat this recall, we get right back to work. because we're not complacent. We're not satisfied with the status quo. We are not satisfied with where the Democratic Party is today, because we know it can be better, and we're going to keep fighting for that. And we're going to partner with Governor Newsom to make that happen. So thank you all so much.